What's up, guys? This is Eric from RuleTheWasteland.com. Don't think I have anybody watching it yet, so I'm just going to kind of ramble, see who picks up on this stream. We're going to go over BattleBox today. It's a gigantic one. I'm going to go over a little bit of camping that I did very recently. So I'll just hang out for a minute, talk about various interesting things. I've got one person showed up. Well, bump on the table here. And remember, guys, you can get your Killdozer shirts. Link will be in the description. A lot of people like that video. It's doing really well. I'm happy about that. I was curious when I made that Killdozer video what other people's perception of this incident was, and whether people thought he was a maniac, a bad person, whatever. So it's interesting to see that most of the people who watched that video and commented on it were sort of thought the same things about it as me for the most part. What's up, Tim and Glenn? What do you win? Yeah, you win the prize for being first person in the live stream. And today I've got awesome. Yeah, Vegas is fun. I just moved out here not too long ago, so I really like it so far. It's just starting to get really, really hot, but I'm okay with that because it's a dry heat. The battle box is huge. It's huge. Look at this thing. So I don't know what we're going to get in it, but it should be fun. I'll wait till we have a few more people bust that open. And I'm going to be making some videos coming up pretty soon about a few pieces of gear that I used while camping recently. It's not any crazy backwoods type camping or anything like that. Most of the camping trips I've been on, we just go to the national parks and camp there at their campsites because they're close. It's cheaper than hotels, things like that. So for the most part, these are very built out campsites. You have an actual plot. They have bathroom facilities and things like that. But for the most part, the gear you would use is pretty similar when it comes to your basic level of gear, like your sleeping bag, your tent, your hygiene stuff, even the fire starting equipment. You just don't have to get into that really extensive survival equipment like water filters and the hanging camp showers. Not that that's super extensive, but there's some gear that you don't have to use. You're just camping out, basically out of a car. But there's still a lot of decent gear that you do use. And so I'll be making videos on a few pieces that I bought, a few pieces I got out of BattleBox, things like that. Would Nevada be good in shit the fan if you have a good supply of water? The hordes wouldn't head out there. That's kind of how I think about it. I mentioned this in a video I did a while back about various places to live in the country and how it would be good or bad for shit the fan, is that in these inhospitable places, or relatively inhospitable places when it comes to weather and things like that, you get the downside of having to deal with that weather, like extreme cold, or out here, extreme heat and the lack of natural water sources. But you also, the inhospitable nature of it makes it less likely that you'll have to deal with large amounts of people. They either will die off quickly in a major event or they just will leave. And water here is one of the things that would make that happen. Although there are water sources, obviously you have Lake Mead, you have some of these neighborhoods have artificial water sources. You have a spring out in Red Rock Canyon, but definitely not nearly enough water to probably support all of the people that live here when it stops being pumped. Because Lake Mead is, it's miles away. So the people would literally have to go there and to camp on the shores because the water would no longer be being pumped here. So I think if you have a water supply personally, whether that's a well, a pool, stored water, then yeah, I think that'd put you in a good position. If you could bunker that down, lay low for a little while, I think a lot of people would be gone, either deceased or left. And yeah, I think that certainly could be the case. But you have to deal with that difficulty in getting water as well. So it's something to think about one way or the other. And the same applies for cold weather, extreme weather. Like in places like Florida, you don't have to worry about extreme temperatures. There's plenty of water, but you have things like hurricanes. You have things like tons of insects, which could, when they stop spraying and controlling mosquito populations, it could get really out of hand and spread disease. So there's always ups and downs to live pretty much anywhere. But definitely some places are easier to survive than others, which makes it easier for you, also makes it easier for everyone else. So people may flock to those places. The bad people have an easier time surviving as well, so on. So we got like 13 people here, so I'm going to go ahead and crack this thing open. It is cool to see if there's a few Vegas people. Yeah, no place is 100% perfect, exactly. So it depends on your constitution, what you're worried about, what you have an easier time dealing with, and like I always mentioned, just what you're doing in your normal day-to-day life. There's no reason in structuring your entire life around where would be the best place to live if there's a shit the fan major event. Do what you got to do and then make the best preparing in whatever situation you find yourself in. Bam. Let's see, man. I'm excited about this one. I'm not even going to be able to have this whole one in the camera. Like I said, for those of you who just showed up, Killdozer shirts, links in the description. So this one is the June battle box. I'm going to cut this monster open. It's a really big box. I don't want to dump everything on the floor. So we'll do our best. So let me know what you guys have been, notice anything interesting in the news related to preparedness. You can put questions in the comments. I'm going to crack open this massive box. One thing I did notice that I posted on Twitter, good afternoon, Corsair, is that related to financial economic turmoil, the U.S. government spent more money in May last month than in any other month in history, including every month during the last Great Recession when they were doing quantitative easing and everything else. So, interesting situation to be in. Let's see. I'm pretty close here to the wall. So, let's see what we got exactly. I'm curious, man. It's big. It's a big box. Warning, powder charge, alarm mines in the area. Proceed with caution, wear ear protection. So there's some kind of alarm, which looks like it might be able to set off a shotgun shell. But of course, you're not supposed to do that because it is 100% illegal to use the alarms as booby traps. You are just supposed to use them as alarms. So there's an alarm in here somewhere, but we'll see what else we got. A self-inflating pillow. You know, one of the pieces of gear that I was speaking of camping and how I just went camping, one of the most important things you can, because a lot of people try to be hard when it comes to outdoor stuff, especially preppers, not necessarily campers, but preppers in general, a lot of times try to act hard and be like, oh, all you need is a blah, blah, you just need a shelter half and a fucking knife and you're good. But when it comes down to it, you don't, it's fucking miserable. And this is, I've spoken to someone who has just slept in a fucking shallow trench that I've dug and used my fucking helmet as a pillow and everything. That's uncomfortable. And then having a good sleeping bag, sleeping mattress, and pillow and tent goes a huge way to making the entire process of either camping, bugging out, wilderness survival, whatever, much more comfortable. And I have a Sea to Summit, I believe is the brand, inflatable pillow, which is what I normally use, and it's very good. This one looks cool, although it's much, much bigger. Mine rolls up to about the size of a soda can, and this is a fairly large. But these are also good for just general travel, too. You can take those on the airplane, inflate them. And is this a self-inflating one? Yes, I did read that. Self-inflating. That's why it's bigger. Because the self-inflating ones have a foam inside that when you open the valve, the foam expanding from being compressed actually draws the air in and fills it up. So we'll have this self-inflating in the background while I do the rest of the live stream. So that's the good news with the self-inflating ones is the you don't have to do any work. You don't have to huff and puff on it. The bad news is they do take up more space and weight. But if you are doing things like car camping or just bugging out or just travel or you just want some of these set aside for guests maybe who crash your place and shit the fan or otherwise, then a little bit of exercise and weight isn't a problem. So we'll let that inflate in the background. And usually you can blow into these valves too if you want to hasten the process. So we'll let that inflate over there. Let's see what else we got. The box kind of fell apart on this one, but a buck knife, Edge of a Legend. Pretty sleek. I've always liked the look of these, but it's very lightweight actually. The handle is that's a pretty cool high reflection. I like how shiny that is. That is a cool knife. all chromed out basically. I like it. Not necessarily the best for shoot the fan situation because it's so shiny. Not very tactical, if you will. But, you know, Buck's one of those things that I know they always did make quality knives, but for some reason it seems like a brand that's gone kind of, I don't want to use the word sold out, but just gone to mass production and probably doesn't have the quality that they used to. But that's just my opinion based on how often I see this stuff. It does say that they have a forever warranty, so that's pretty cool. And I haven't actually heard anything bad about even the modern Buck knives. But I just wouldn't be surprised if, like a lot of other things, they didn't quite have the quality that they did, you know, 20 or 30 years ago. But who knows? If you guys have a lot of, yeah, it does double as a signal here. That's true. You know, not everything's going to be a tactical situation, very sharp. You could use that as signaling. Looking for a truck bed tent. I go for one-nighters for shooting, and it's much too much work to set a full tent, air mattress, etc. Yeah, if you have a pop-up kind of thing that you can just throw in the bed of your truck. But also, if you have a camper or whatever, it depends. Like if you get the right gear, it literally, we've got it pretty much down to a science anyway. We've done so many of these national park trips that we have our tents, sleeping mattress, everything set up. No way it takes more than 15 minutes. Probably takes less than 10 minutes if you have a good area, it's not windy, things like that. If it is windy, it obviously takes a little bit more time and effort because you have to be a little bit more careful setting everything up so it doesn't blow away. But honestly, the longest step for me is blowing up the air mattress because I don't have one with a built-in pump because those are fairly expensive. And setting up the tent takes 5 minutes. Blowing up the air mattress may take another 5 minutes. Pillow. For unrolling your sleeping bag, yeah, you're talking maybe 15 minutes. Yeah, if it is really windy, then it can be tough. And it does get windy out here. So if you have a setup that you can do that in your truck, that's really cool. It's just to have it set up all the time would mean you can't use your truck bed for other things probably. But if you don't anyway, that is one good thing about the Buck knives made in the USA. Or at least that Buck knife. Here we get a copy of American Survival, which I have not heard of this magazine. Pretty cool. I'll have to check it out. Let's see what else we got. Glowco foldable solar lantern. Very cool. I'm always dubious of products that have the solar panels on the same part of the product as the battery, because they'll always tell you not to leave the battery out in the sun. It can damage it or shorten the life. But then the solar panel is right on the back side of the battery, and there's no way to charge the solar panel without excessively heating up the entire thing. So I think it would be better for someone to create a system. This is what I would do if I got enough money to start like a fairly significant gear company right off the bat, is I would make a system, a whole set of gear where you had the solar panel was a separate piece and you could just plug it in to all your various different pieces of gear. That does look cool though. And maybe the battery is in the bottom part here. So these are the solar panels right on the light. So I'm not sure if the battery is in the base or in this flat part. I'm guessing it's in the base. And it's got a little hanger. So this is definitely one that I will try out on my next camping trip. It's already got some charge in it. 1, 2. Flashing. And off. So we'll have to see how this charging works. Pretty cool. And it's got a little USB cable as well, which maybe you can use to charge other things with the battery. But it's a cool looking design at least. Good for hanging up. So, and that is the Glowco foldable solar lantern, 100 lumens, ham-free, over 240 minutes of light when fully charged. And you can charge it via USB as well. So that's cool. All right, what else do we got? Elite Ops energy strips. I guess these are some sort of something you put in your, yeah, Fierce Arctic Mint. 100 milligrams of caffeine per strip. 5 servings. You can get 15 more strips for free, it says, at eliteopsenergy.com. 100 milligrams is pretty significant. A cup of coffee, which is like 4 to 6 ounces usually, I think, depending on which metric you use. Not actually always a 8 fluid ounce cup, but a cup of coffee usually has around 75 or 80 milligrams of caffeine, if I'm not mistaken. So 100 milligrams of caffeine would be just over an entire cup of coffee. Not necessarily a bad idea to have something like this in your bug out bag for some quick energy boost, as long as they store well, which I'm not sure about these. But it says there's 5 strips in here. Interesting idea. Here is the alarm that they were talking about, which you are not to be used as a booby trap under any circumstances. So you see it's like this, and I guess when this is pulled that way, it goes down and punches whatever you have in the middle there, which could be a charge. I guess you could use a blank, whatever you want. Yeah, it uses 22. It says, absolutely do not use live ammo. This tripwire alarm performs best with a maximum power level 2 ram set 22 caliber blank, which doesn't appear to be included in this for obvious reasons. Because if you use the live bullet here, it would hit the bottom. Because if you put the 22 round in the little tube there, it would just like shoot it into the bottom. Pretty interesting. Tripwire type alarm set, perimeter alarm, useful thing. Hello everybody who just showed up. Blanks were good in those, yes. How is everyone doing? Well? What's up, William, Edward, Corsair, Doug, everyone else, Gregory? I do rule the wasteland, thank you. So here's the big piece. Oh wait, we got one little more. Oh, this is actually mil-spec multi-purpose line, 100 feet, 30 meters of, I actually wanted to get some of this, so I'm glad to have some really high tensile strength, but really thin line. Can use as a tripwire, sewing thread, etc. So you could use it in conjunction with these. You could use it as a sewing thread, all sorts of different things. Just regular, any types of cordage that you need. And then so this, I'm not sure if it's a cot, if it's a tent, if it's a canopy. What are your guesses? It could be a, no, it's not a sleeping bag or anything. I don't think it's a tent. It's honestly just too big. I'm guessing it's some sort of, I don't know. Let's see what it says before I unroll it. What are you guys' guesses? You think it's a tent? Might be. Yeah. Battlbox Tupic 2-person tent. This is really big for a 2-person tent. It's not that heavy, but it is fairly large. Let me see what I'm going to Google it over here. What is it called? A Tupic? Because I can't obviously set up this tent right here for you guys. T-U-P-I-K, 2-person tent. T-U-P-I-K, 2-person tent. So it looks kind of like, oh wait, never mind. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I don't see too many pictures. Oh, here we go. It's like a teepee shape almost. Interesting. So it might be fairly tall in the middle, which, you know, be able to stand up in it. Pretty cool. Try setting it up in here. Is that what you want? But I'll take the bag off at least. But you would definitely only be using this if you were car camping or something similar to that, because this is obviously far, far too big for some kind of bug out or backpacking tent. I've got a backpacker's tent pup style that weighs 2.5 pounds. Yeah, the one that I've been using is the Eureka Apex Solo tent, and it's about like this big, and it's not very heavy. It's a little too small. I'm gonna get a 2-person tent because there isn't even. It's hard to even change in there. You don't have any room for your gear, and since I'm mostly camping out of a vehicle anyway, having a little bit of extra weight and size is not a big deal. This is just fairly big. I'm kind of surprised at how big this is for a 2-person tent. But it does appear to be one that you might actually be able to stand up in, which could be nice. Buck knives are made in China now. Well, apparently not all of them. Unless you think they're lying, which that's fairly illegal, so I don't think that they're lying about that. All right, here's the picture of the tent. It has a tarp or ground cloth on there. So that's a picture of a 2-person tent, teepee style. Pretty cool looking. It says the Tupik, also spelled Tupik with a Q, is a traditional Inuit tent made from seal or caribou skin. So it is kind of like a teepee, I guess. The battlbox 2-person Tupik tent is a modern twist on that. It can be quickly set up and taken down for those who like to be on the move. Interesting. All right. So it has a center pole, I'm guessing is why it, maybe, I don't know. It says it has pole stabilizer, ground stakes, 3 windows, tent body, yeah. Interesting. I'll have to set it up outside and hopefully take some pictures and show you guys how it works, but pretty cool. Big tent, big 2-person tent. If it's great, maybe I will take it on the next. The problem is a lot of these camping trips, not only do we have to fit everything in the car, which that's not too hard, is that I'm usually flying out to meet these guys that I travel with, and then we rent a car and drive to various parks and things like that. So the actual limiting factor is having all my gear fit into one check bag. Because obviously I can't, even if it was small enough, I can't carry it on because of things like knives and hatchets and whatnot. So I have to check a bag. And when you have a tent this big, that takes up just a huge portion of your space and weight, because check bags these days can only weigh 50 pounds too. Last time I flew, it was 46, 47 pounds, I think, was my bag, so it was right there. But that's cool. If you are doing bug out in a vehicle, you know, or camping from a vehicle, that's not good. But I would guess this feels like it weighs, shit, almost, I would guess close to 20 pounds. Oh. I don't know if it says. Yeah. Let me see if I can find the weight. BattleBox 2-person tent weight. Eric, you need a video with a hockey mask and 45 with the scope. Yes, I do. Was that a 45? I thought he had a 44 mag or something. Or is it just a 45 long Colt or something? I don't remember. Lord Humongous revolver. Consult the internet, which tells me everything. Here's a picture. Here it does look like a 45, but it's not 45 ACP. All right, what do we got? Want a baby sealskin coat and boots. I wouldn't mind that either. I watched JJ open his box last night. I always wondered if everyone got the same thing. I believe so, right? I mean, they just send out that box for that month. Otherwise, it would be a huge hassle to send out different stuff. Pretty sure. I mean, as long as you get the same tier. Like if you look at this, they have different tiers. So everyone who gets the basic tier gets the same thing. If you get the next level, you get the same thing. So like everyone who has the Pro box, the Pro Plus box, is getting all the same things. Did he get a different tier? Which tier did he get? I think he gets the full one. I haven't watched his video yet. Man, I've been so busy. I haven't been able to watch anybody's videos. I'm still trying to find out what fucking gun the Lord Humongous used. I can't find it. One without the tent. Oh, okay. Which is the... Well, then he must have just got the advanced, because the Pro, if he got the knife, the buck knife, that's the highest level tier, and that also includes 10. Let's see what he has. Yeah, see, here we go. It says the Lord Humongous wields a Smith & Wesson 44 caliber model 29 revolver with a scope and an 8-inch barrel. 44, just like I thought. Pretty close though. So yeah, that's pretty cool, guys. Buck knife. I like this type of knife. Isn't really my first choice for like an outdoor knife or survival knife or whatever, but I do like this. Really classy looking. Looks like something somebody would pull on Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse. I'd have to kick it out of their hand. Pretty wild. This I definitely will be putting in the bug out bag. These, yeah, I have to see what. There's many different uses you could have, obviously, for tripwires. There's also some other ones out there that crack a glow stick, so you get a notification without having any noise created. That could be useful too. I got some caffeine pills for a bug out bag. Roadhouse is a guilty favorite. Yeah, man, who doesn't like Roadhouse? Style of knife is all we had years ago. Yeah, it definitely reminds me of like an 80s style, 70s style. He had a fancy Kroll solar light. Yeah, for you guys who just showed up, I got the Kroll. I got the Glaive light too. For all you nerds out there. Had to reach into some glowing lava for this one. Pretty cool. Later. Oh, cool. So I got the Glaive thing too. How about 60s and 50s? Yeah, I guess you're right, Eric. These type of knives go way back. I do like it. It's surprisingly lightweight. Take the light to a rave. There's plenty of raves out here, man. They just had the EDC festival, which is like a big electronic dance music festival. So there's lots of people running around with crazy clothes and weirdness in the casinos for the past few weeks. JJ said he was bailing on YouTube due to ethics. When did he say that? I haven't been able to watch all his videos. He just posted one very recently. And is he specific of the like the YouTube ethics? Because they're not great. I mean, obviously YouTube/Google has been doing the crazy stuff. Last night in a video or somewhere else. I'll have to watch that. That'd be unfortunate if he took off YouTube. I know he has a great channel and a lot of subscribers. So that would be unfortunate. Is it in his battlbox video? Because I'll have to watch that. But so let's see what this pillow has been filling up. This is a self-inflating pillow. It hasn't really been. It's probably been for a while. So the self-inflating aspect of it hasn't worked incredibly well. It's been, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So you would have to supplement it probably with blowing it up. Probably the less amount of time it's been rolled up, the quicker it will. There, now it's doing it. Oh, it's blowing out. Yeah, the less amount of time that it's been rolled up, the quicker it'll probably self-inflate because it won't have to conform. So if you are going to use this and want it to self-inflate, you should probably leave it in this form, inflated form, and then roll it up and pack it away right before you're ready to leave. That way, when you unroll it, it'll be more likely to spring back to life. So, pretty good. Another thing that you have to keep in mind with some of these pillows is the material they're made out of. The one I have, the Sea to Summit pillow, has almost like a felt or a fabric outer layer, so you don't have like that skin on plastic. With this type of pillow, what I would normally do, because I used to have one very similar to this, is I would just take one of my t-shirts, put it over it as a pillowcase, and then you're good to go. But for the size and how quickly it is to blow up the one that I have. I prefer the just full-on inflatable. Self-inflating ones for the pillows, it just doesn't seem to be worth the extra weight and everything. Yeah, they call them pillowcases. Yeah, I know. But I'm saying when you're camping, you don't necessarily want to pack a whole extra pillowcase. You can just use another article of clothing. And these are also slower to deflate. So overall, I'm not a huge fan of the self-inflating ones like this. The ones that are really good are the ones that have a built-in like foot pump for the air mattresses. But those are very expensive. Even the air mattress I had, you really don't want, if you're doing any serious camping, you really don't want to spend less than like 120 to 130 bucks on an air mattress. You just get there's not a whole lot of great ones below that are going to hold up and be comfortable and be quality and everything. And a lot of the ones are like 250 bucks. It's really expensive. I spent like 140, I think, on mine. And it's been working great. Fills up quickly and works well. Same one JJ got. Yeah, it should be all the same for this battle box. So I like it. You got the pillow, you got the tent, you got your knife, you got your light. So you're actually pretty good. And they have sent sleeping bags out in some of the previous battle boxes, so I would have that as well. Even if I didn't already have a sleeping bag, I would have it. So you'd have a pretty good, if you had just been getting battle boxes for the same amount of time that I have, you would have a pretty complete camping setup right now. You'd have multiple lanterns, you have a couple mess kits, you have a tent now, you have sleeping bags, you have the pillows, you have knives, you've got all sorts of stuff. So really does give you a pretty decent selection of gear that you can put together a complete either bug out kit, preparedness kit, camping kit, things like that. So that's fun stuff, guys. So yeah, so thanks for watching. I don't have too much more to talk about today, honestly. I have a couple more videos that I'm going to be making over the next few days. I've been slacking big time on videos. It's been 2 weeks since I made a video. I feel bad about that, but just been really busy. Working 6 days a week usually, and kind of a pain in the butt. But did get the Killdozer shirts made up. You can find those in the description. A few people have bought them. I think they're great. I got one with a built-in pump and use Halo bolt for electric to blow it up. Works pretty well. Yeah, I'm referring more to the built-in like a foot pump, not the big like house air mattresses that have an electric pump. But there's a lot that have one that it has like a little pad, and you just kind of step on the pad repeatedly, and it physically pumps. There's like a valve in there because it's much smaller and lighter than an electric pump, and you obviously don't have to have electricity. So those are good. Talked about sitting on it in a blind when sitting a long time. Yeah, life is cool. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Get on the email list in the description, and because I don't like, speaking of YouTube and JJ potentially leaving YouTube, there is weird stuff going on, and it's always good to have backup methods of communicating if something happens to the channel, something happens to any of my other social media accounts. The email list is probably the safest for the time being, and obviously the website. I have my own hosting, I have my own domain. I'm not going off of like Blogspot or anything like that. So those two would probably be the last to go, and any sort of horrible purge would be the website, rulethewasteland.com, and the email list, which you can find there or in the link in the description box below. So thanks for watching, guys. I will talk to you later. Prep jokes make funny vids. Yeah, I do need to make some more funny vids. I was actually thinking about doing a, you might be a prepper if kind of video. So I've been starting a list on that. Melbourne, but work in Vegas. Cool. I'll be glad when SpaceX internet goes online because my QNet sucks for live streams. Yeah, that does suck. Thanks again, guys, for watching. I'll talk to you later.